Would you like to live in a utopian metropolis in the desert? Of course you would. Would you like it to be built by a billionaire? Of course you would. Would you like that billionaire got their fortune out of Walmart and all sorts of other companies that ain't got the best history in the way they treat their employees? I don't need to hear your answer. It's of course you would. Let's see how brilliant this billionaire utopia is going to be and thank our lucky stars for the opportunity to live in a billionaire utopia. Or as it's going to be called, I think, Telosa.
Could the city of the future be built right here in Arizona's desert?
Well, it could be. That doesn't mean it should be.
A former Walmart executive and billionaire reportedly is looking for 150,000 acres to build a new utopia.
These billionaires, they're always trying to buy up some acres, aren't they, to build a utopia? Every day, billionaire buys up a load of space. Where are these utopias?
If you could build a city from scratch, what would it look like? Would you get rid of traffic? Make it sustainable? Or maybe just keep work and play within a 15-minute commute?
The mission of Telosa is to create a more equitable and sustainable future.
That's him? I'm scared of him a bit already. Now, he might be all right, isn't he? We never know. Marc Lore, maybe you meet him and you go, he's all right. I don't want to judge him. I just did my initial response to seeing Marc Lore was fear.
A more equitable and sustainable future.
Telosa will eventually house 5 million people, according to its website, and benefit from a halo of utopian promises. Avant-garde architecture, cool. Drought resistance, brilliant. Minimal environmental impact, love it. Communal resources, fantastic. This hypothetical metropolis promises to take some of the most cutting-edge ideas about sustainability and urban design and make them a reality. So far, so good.
Billionaire Marc Lore hopes to do exactly that, potentially targeting the Sonoran Desert as his blank canvas.
What we're trying to do is combine sort of the best of different cities in the world and bring it together.
There's a bit where there's a bridge going over a river. This in the middle of the desert. Where's that river coming from?
The former Walmart exec dreams that Telosa becomes as vibrant as New York, as clean and efficient as Tokyo, and as sustainable as Stockholm.
I mean, in a sense, I respect the vision of Marc Lore, but I feel like the principles that underwrite it will be impacted by such strong economic biases that it will end up being a horrible disaster. Like say, like Qatar or Dubai, or you know what I mean. You like now, I'm not an expert on these rapidly built desert cities. I feel like that when you, in defiance of environment, create some conurbation, it kind of bears this resonance that feels like a problem, even when you're walking around in it. And if something is a reflection of the kind of ideals that creates billionaires, like this, you know, if I think he got his money from Walmart, it's going to be a reflection of those values. So all these things, that they're just things you have to say at the moment, sustainability, you know, all of that. You have to say that. You can't say you're just going to do what you want. Otherwise, that's just, it's a code. It's a dance. It's not real. It's not someone's real values. The idea as well that we're in this age where billionaires go up to space, billionaires build cities. If that's the way it's going to be, let's recognise that what we've returned to is a kind of a feudal system where like kings and barons and just go around going, oh, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do that now. I'm not paying any tax. I'm going to space. We're doing this. I'm building a city. Let's not pretend that we should all be like, oh, I'm English. I'm American. I'm from France. You ain't nothing, mate. You're a market is what you are. You're a market who sort of waves at a flag while billionaire kings just maraud about doing whatever the hell they fancy on that particular day.
And in the best case scenario, we can create a higher quality of life for millions of people.
But is this utopia built in the desert even possible?
I don't know. Oh, it's rhetorical.
He won't be the first person that tried to build utopia.
In fact, Lore wouldn't even be the first in Arizona. 4 years ago, Bill Gates bought nearly 25,000 acres of land near Tonopah for $80 million.
You might have seen the other video we did about Bill Gates buying up farmland, and have a look at it. I'll point to it at the end of the video. It makes you wonder, are these billionaires going to build utopias, or are these utopias just a front for buying up loads of land?
All to build a smart city that doesn't exist yet.
Where are your smart cities? Where are these utopias? I'm not seeing any of the results of these glorious new dreams from billionaires. And I think perhaps it's because you can't organise communities and society based around the vision of one super powerful figure. What you necessarily require, and I learned this even in my own little simple life, is that you require community and interconnection. You can't have, like, of course, leadership is required in certain situations, but leadership should be spread around. What I mean to say is that there are areas where I'm pretty good at stuff. There's other areas where I'm pretty bloody inept. So any real community is going to require collaboration and equality. It's going to require a set of values and principles to create utopia. Utopia is not about aesthetics Aesthetics is like, oh, well, this looks nice, this place. How's it run? Well, we've got loads of poor people working down there, slopping out the sewers. We've got loads of immigrant labour over there that are like non-documented, that are being treated like rubbish over there. We're secretly dumping stuff over there. The whole thing's been, like, what's the ideal? What's the vision? What are we living for? What are we trying to keep ourselves alive for? In order to do what? Without getting esoteric, we just want to be with people we love, live a life of value, feeling connected to who we really are, working through what challenges we face so that we can become the best person we can be and live collegiately and lovingly with people around us. Now, that isn't supported by the kind of systems that are generating these grandiose billionaire gestures. This is the cult of the individual. This is the cult of high finance and advanced late corporatism. So that's the word you guys like, right? So that ain't going to generate anything like a utopia. If anything, it's a me-topia. Now, that's a joke.
So Lore hopes by 2030 to have the first part of Telosa built.
It even has a monorail. It's going to be like the Monorail episode of The Simpsons.
What's it called?
Monorail.
That's right, Monorail.
What about us brain-dead slobs?
I mean, if you don't have big ideas and if you don't try them, how are you going to advance?
I actually do respect ingenuity, entrepreneurship and vision. But when those things are underwritten by a motivation for profit, and I don't know that Marc Lore's motivation is that, only that he's a billionaire from stuff that seems relatively typical on a superficial glance. Oh, here it is. A glance at Lore's portfolio reveals that all of his big ideas and fancy language about the betterment and advancement of society are pretty hollow. This is a guy who built his fortune in part through Walmart, a labour-busting company that pays its own workers so little that they often have to rely on government-funded welfare programs despite being employed full-time. Imagine this. A supermarket. I got a vision. It's called a Utopia supermarket. It's called Walmart. People are paid so little that they need government support, even though they're in full-time employment. Oh, my God. Oh, that's so beautiful. Will it have a monorail? You bet your ass it'll have a monorail. This world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Monorails isn't that futuristic. Everyone thinks a monorail is futuristic, don't they? How many rails has it got? Duo? No. Mono. Wow! Lore made another chunk of his fortune by selling a venture to Amazon. Both of these companies have been instrumental in funneling money and joy. Oh shit, that's brutal, from Jessa Crispin in The Guardian. From the lower classes and handing it over to a select few who can think lofty thoughts about what would make society better. What would make society better, continues the writer, is it skyscrapers in the desert, or would it actually benefit the world more if billionaires had less influence over the way society operates? Telosa's name, as has been mentioned often in its promotional materials, comes from Aristotle's use of the word telos to mean highest purpose. Perhaps a better name could be derived from Hybris, Greek goddess of insolence and reckless pride. Lovely classical reference, smashing bit of journalism. So, yeah, Telosa, a vision for a bright new future in the desert, or just another bloody monorail that may never actually arrive from another bloody billionaire? Who knows? You tell me what you think. What does it make you feel? Do you have visions for an alternative society? Do you think that it could ever be brought about under existing systems? Do we need to change ourselves? Let go, as Gandhi said, of our requirement for gadgets and trinkets and comfort. Does that mean necessarily that to change the world we have to change ourselves, become more spiritual, more awakened, willing to let go of our own comfort? That's a challenge I face every day. Do you face that challenge? How are we going to face it together? Well, let's start by signing up to the Awakening channel and doing my guided meditations over on Luminary if you fancy doing that. Both of those things are just a click away, as is my mailing list. And if you enjoyed this video, have a look at this one. It'll give you a right little laugh. Most importantly of all, stay free, keep watching us, stay with us.